Wonderful to be here. My name is Liz Rubiano, and I am the Regional Marketing Director with Cardinal Financial. If you'd like to take a picture of the screen at the moment, in case you want to go ahead and get in contact with us, work phone numbers on there, direct cell phone numbers on there, email, and of course, please, please, please make sure that you are following us on all of our social medias, Cardinal Financial, Team Bush Paz. Go to the next slide. All right, so we are a 50-state direct lender specializing in residential mortgage lending. So we only do mortgage lending, residential, sorry. We don't do car loans, we don't do commercial loans, none of that stuff. We only specialize in residential lending. We take a consultative approach to all of our scenarios. So if you have any specific clients who you want to reach out to us about and you want to go ahead and ask us some questions or just for knowledge base, please feel free to reach out. Our team is also multilingual, just so that you know. So we have people on our team who speak Spanish, English, obviously, Portuguese, Italian, Russian. If you have any particular clients who might be in the market and need assistance in another language, our team is very diverse. Rates are at an all-time low. We did see a little bit of an increase in the rates in the last week or so. However, they seem to be going down again, so that's good. We have products for cash out, FHA cash out up to 80%, conventional cash out up to 80%. For purchase, we have as little as 3% down, 10% down on a second home, and 15% down on an investment property. For purchase with FHA, we have a 3.5% down, 2 to 4 units, 3.5% down, up to 638,100 in Miami-Dade and Broward counties. Okay, we have VA. We're excellent at the VA products, 0 down for purchase financing up to 1 million, 10% down for up to 2 million, rate and term refi with our VA IRRRL products, no LTV limits, and cash out up to 90 LTV. For condo, we have FHA condo and Fannie Mae condo spot approvals. I don't know if any of you have seen our market leader, Justin Bush. He actually hosts a how to sell condo class with the Miami Association of Realtors. So we have some excellent products when it comes to condo financing. And non-warrantable condo, we have up to 10% down. We also have an alternative to jumbo, as little as 10% down and purchase price a little over 1 million. And we just recently actually got our jumbo product back, one of our jumbo products back, which is excellent. So for primary residence and second home up to 1.5 million, as little as 20% down, credit scores down to the 700s and rates in the low 3s. Same thing with cash out refi. If you have any questions on that, please feel free to reach out. Our team also has an independent marketing team who is here to assist you as realtors. Obviously, if you guys are making more business, so are we. So if you would like a marketing consultation with someone on our team, we are more than happy to schedule that out with you to see how we can help each other so that you can grow more business and in turn grow our business as well. Okay. We also have special programs right now for local heroes and veterans. So if you're a firefighter, law enforcement, active duty veteran, reserve, healthcare professional, or school district employee or teacher, you qualify for home ownership savings, okay? No income limits, there's no restrictions on the property or locations. And we're also offering free appraisals to all first responders and service members, okay? This is a little bit of our team. Carlos Paz, a loan originator, speaks English and Spanish. Sandra Miesler, myself, Desiree Paz, who is one of our branch managers and spearheading our business up in the Orlando market, and Justin Bush, our market leader, who some of you might know. And lastly, this is our contact information. Like I said, please feel free to take a screenshot of the screen so that you can go ahead and get in contact with us with any specific questions that you may have. We will also be posting all of our social media links and contact information in the chat for your convenience. Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you. Fantastic presentation. And now, if we could have Lux up, we'd love to hear more about your services as well. Thank you so much. Go ahead, share the screen.
Hi, everybody. I was trying to get the unmute button done. We are Lux Home Staging and Design, and this is Lynn Spaeth, and I am Sandra Holmes. And Lux Home Staging Design has been in business for 16 years here in South Florida. And one of the biggest things that we do to help you as realtors is that we help to build your brand awareness. And also we know that staging maximizes sellers' profits. So there's a big difference of what you as a listing agent can portray to the market, what you showcase to the market, and by staging it for sale versus, you know, people who are taking photos with their camera and taking of the house that is unstaged. So we are here to help build your brand awareness, and we are an award-winning marketing company that does this just for you.
And we do this by staging. And what is the definition of that? Because many people have all sorts of different ideas. So what's important to know is that it's the process of preparing a property for sale so it appeals to the largest base of buyers. So it generates traffic and encourages offers. We do this by highlighting the space, the light, and the architectural features. So it's not about the stuff, it's about the architecture in the space. And it's important to know that staging is your #1 marketing tool, and it absolutely brings measurable value. And we're going to show you about that.
So what is home staging? What is it not? One thing that we do not do is we do not put lipstick on a pig, for sure. And a lot of people ask us to do that. We don't come in and cover up cracks or holes or things that are, you know, wrong with walls and floors. It's not decorating either, because a lot of people want us to come in and decorate their homes, and we provide that service, but not when it's really getting ready for sale. It's a big difference between staging and design. And we don't highlight your collections. You know, it's sometimes it's really emotional if you don't have a great way to talk to your seller about removing their collections of dolls or sports memorabilia or anything like that. We are experts at getting them to do so without offending how they live in their home, right? Of course, we said we don't put lipstick on a pig, and we don't hide the issues. And staging is not deferred maintenance. It means things need to work in the house, right? So that is something else that we also go through the house and let them know what they need to take care of. This is for both a vacant or occupied homes. People think that staging is only for vacant properties, and we do a lot of occupied homes, and they need us even more than the vacant homes do.
This particular slide, what's important to know is #1, that home staging is considered federally under IRS Code 523 an advertising expense, which means it is a tax deduction for home sellers. And I know that there's also, it's an advertising expense for the realtors too. So that's really important. And that can also help you sell it to your sellers, because it sweetens the deal a little bit.
Right, because why wouldn't they have it staged if they can write off the entire expense of doing
Right.
so, right? For some reason, it's not letting me go to the next slide.
There we go.
There we go. So a fact is that 90% of all potential buyers search the internet prior to engaging a realtor. It's no longer the drive-by anymore. And even though that properties are selling like hotcakes and there's not that much inventory on the market, we do know it doesn't matter if it's a slow market or hot market, that staging is the competitive differentiator that gets the highest dollar for your sellers. When you can get your sellers, then they're listing for over asking price, which staging does, you will be the hero. That is creating your brand awareness, right? Every single price range of property benefits from staging. Like today, we're doing a $12 million property. Tomorrow, we're doing a $300,000 property. So we do know that the investment of stages will be far less than any price reductions or carrying costs of the home, and for the seller and for you. I always say that we're here to protect your commissions.
That is right. So when we talk about staging and how it can impact the sale of a property, this diagram helps you realize visually what happens when you do stage and when you don't stage. So we know that, and I know this market is hot, so these numbers might be a little skewed, but the point of it is that, you know, 80 or almost 90% either sell at list or over list. And that's a pretty significant number. So it is totally worth it, because we know that even if you have a $1 million property and you end up spending $3 grand, if you had to do a price reduction because the house wasn't selling, it would certainly be far more than that.
Right. And one thing that I want to bring up too, that's a misconception is a lot of times the realtors think that they have to pay for the staging services, and that is not true. It's the seller's largest investment and they should be paying. Now, that does not mean that you don't want to pay for a consultation to get us in the door, for sure, because a lot of realtors do that. Here's just a quick example of a house on the left that it was shown like that on the market for 1 year, no offers. We went in, we told them, you know, all the things they had to remove, basically everything. And we brought in different furniture to give it a different look, because we're always staging for the demographic buyer. What do they want to buy? The one on the left or the one on the right? They need to imagine moving in or they're moving on. Here's another example, you know, of older style furniture in this beautiful condo. Again, it's, you know, it had the border of wallpaper on the wall. And you could tell that the people who live there just by the style of the furniture. So it's not okay. We have to stage it for the buyer. Who is the demographic buyer going to be? What are you buying? This house sold in 2 days after we staged it. Over asking. Here's another property that we staged, and they had these old outdated built-in cabinets. A lot of times they don't want to take them down, but we're really good at getting them to do things, right? So it created an open space and it was able to showcase as a dining room. It looked beautiful. Again, this one sold within a week and a half. And then vacant, we know, does not make it, right? Nobody can imagine, especially with the homes that are being built today with the great open wide spaces, that they can't imagine. If they can't imagine moving in, they're moving on, right? If they have to spin around in circles in a room and say, where's my sofa going to go? Or where am I going to live? Or where's my TV going to be? Then, and they have those questions, this defines the spaces for them. And who doesn't always want to move into a model home? So some other things about us real quick, we do formal training, communication, so that means we educate your realtors, your sellers. And we're customer centric. We're up to date on today's design trends, and also our furniture is up to date of what buyers expect to see today. We're insured. We have our professional policies. We have a huge portfolio if anybody needs to see it, and a ton of 5-star testimonials. So remember, not all stages are created equal. To make sure you do your homework. Okay, how can we help you?
How can we help you? Well, we do in-home consultations. So if you have an occupied home and you know that it needs some attention, we can go in and do that. So you get to be the good cop and we get to be the bad cop, but we're really very lovely about how we do that. So we know how to inspire people to do the things that need to get done. So we also stage occupied properties. So not only do we do the consults, but we can go back and enhance what they have with our stuff. We do vacant properties all the time, and we also do vacation rentals. So that's a really fun piece of business for us. And if you have somebody, know that we can take care of it. We're doing $1 million Airbnb in Fort Lauderdale right now. Interior decorating and color consultations. So there's a whole range of things we can do for our realtors to make them look fabulous.
If there's any questions, or if you need anything at all, remember, Lynn and I and our team, we give inspired spaces and exceptional results. Make sure that you take our phone number down and check out our website at luxhomestageanddesign.com. And we look forward to working with you and helping you to build your brands.
Amen.
Thank you so much. That was very informative. Chandra, Bethany, the floor is yours. Take it away.
Hello, everybody. Wow, that presentation was great. Both of you guys. Thank you so much to our sponsors. I think it fits so perfectly for even our presentation that we're going to be giving today. All right. So, Chandra, are you going to share your screen?
Do you see my screen?
You.
Okay.
All right, perfect. So I'm Bethany Martinez. I'm your 2021 president of the Miami YPN. I've been involved in YPN for the last 5 years. I am also a leader of the BMAR team, and I'm with Related ISG, and I've been practicing real estate for the last 8 years. It seems like forever. And I will say that this is a fun topic to always talk about, because I think throughout my career, I have transitioned and transformed my brand quite a few times. And I think at every certain level in your career deserves a new refresher and new branding. And Chandra just recently did the same. So go ahead and introduce yourself, Chandra.
Hi, everyone. My name is Chandra. I am a realtor here in Miami. I am the lead of the core here at eXp Realty. I am the president-elect for Miami YPN, and this is my third year on the board. And like Bethany said, this is something that I recently did, which is a complete rebrand. And Bethany just has an awesome brand in herself. So we really wanted to come together, teach this class, teach kind of like the branding 101s, and help you guys determine how you want to build your own brand, which is something we're very both passionate about. So hold on, there we go.
Yeah,
So yeah, go ahead, Bethany.
First and
Sorry.
foremost, just like to throw this out there, as every realtor, we operate as our own business, correct? So we're out there promoting ourselves every day. And that's why we both think it's so important to create an individual brand for yourselves so that you can be distinguished, so that people can recognize who you are. It's one thing when you're with a brokerage, but if you're a licensed agent with a brokerage, you got to think to yourself, what is going to make you stand out amongst every other agent at your brokerage and every agent out there? How are people going to look at you and recognize you? So that's first and foremost. Every realtor should think about their brand, their logo, how they want to leave their mark on this world, and how they want to be seen.
Absolutely. So like this slide, basically 90% of consumers' assessment of a company or brand is made by color. So we're going to go into a little bit how that's kind of like the starting point of like when people are trying to even decide on how to visually represent their brand, right? So we have this here that basically just go through all the different colors of the rainbow, and then kind of go through show rather what each color represents and what they signify. And when you really look at it, when you see like the color blue, trust, peace, loyalty, competence, like you'll notice that a lot of financial institutions will use the color blue. A lot of natural products or environmental products, whether it's cosmetic or something on a grander scale, will use green. So like when you're thinking about doing a brand for yourself and you're thinking about visual representation, you have to think like, okay, well, what do I want people to feel or think when I'm designing something, when I'm deciding on the color of my logo or the color of my cards or whatever it may be. So myself, I recently rebranded, and I have a little bit of a combination of the three. I'll gladly towards the end of the class show my process so that you guys have a more visual understanding of the process that I went through. But I think this is like really, really important to really decide on like what colors. It's not necessarily about what your favorite color is. It's about what you want consumers to think when they see the color on your brand.
And sometimes, you can have a favorite color and you can think of ways to incorporate it in your brand. And if you have no idea, the color chart is just to give you ideas on how to get started, right? Some people don't have anything. They don't have a logo, they don't have a brand, and they don't even know where to begin. So I really encourage you, pick a color, pick something, maybe a font or a style, and start to create a mood board, right? Get inspired by putting different things on this mood board to help you put your ideas together. Because in order for you to even tell maybe like a graphic designer or someone to help you create this, like Chandra's very fortunate because her husband does all her graphics, right? But for me, when it was time to start building my brand and my logo, I had to go to somebody and ask, like, how do I get the thoughts that are in my head out on paper so that someone can understand what I'm looking for? So I created a mood board for that, and I started to put together things that I liked, visuals of different fonts, different pictures, different things that I thought represented me. And that's really how I was able to start my mood boards, which is then what led to my brand.
So what is a logo? And I think it's very important for people to realize that a logo is not a brand. All right. So you have companies out there that have a very well-known brand and you may not even know their logo. Or think of some agents. You probably know some agents in the market right now who are absolutely crushing it, yet they don't have a logo, but they have a brand. People know them to be competent, professional, and in what they do. So you have to be able to distinguish the two. A logo basically is just a visual representation of a brand, right? But it is not a brand. So right? A logo is not a brand, right? And it's very important to know that like a brand is not owned by the company. At the end of the day, a brand is how customers perceive you to be, right? And people want to align themselves with brands, not logos. So for example, this is a trademark. It's not a brand, right? What Nike does, what they do, what they represent, their culture, how you feel wearing their products, how you feel buying their products, that's the brand. This is just a trademark. This is a visual representation of Nike, but it is not part of your experience. I hope that makes sense to everybody. So again, the brand is the perceived emotional corporate image, right? As a whole, not what you say it is, how customers and clients perceive it to be. And then the identity is just the visual aspects. That would be part of the logo, the colors, things like that, right? And then the logo just identifies the company. For example, Apple. If you see the Apple symbol, you know that's Apple, but that's not the brand. The brand is how they run their stores, how you feel using their products, the quality of the products, the customer service that they provide. That's part of the brand, the user experience in their products and their devices. The logo just helps you identify the device or the company rather, not necessarily the brand. Did you want to touch on branding, Bethany?
Just basically touching on what you say, like, I feel like once you're able to create a logo, you're able to set yourself apart, right? You're able to use your logo to identify the things that you do. Because at some point in time, you can't always portray your brand when you have a for sale sign or when you have marketing material, right? So really a logo is that next step to kind of bring everything together. You've worked hard on building your brand. You've worked hard on putting all those elements together so that people know how they're going to feel when they work with you, know what they're going to experience when they meet you. And now your logo is a really quick way to put all that wrapped in one, right? And that's how we're able to now use that logo and put it on all of our marketing material, which I think is really important because people aren't going to be able to feel your brand without seeing if it's on flyers or information sheets or on social media. So that's why it all ties in together, and they're all very, very important of building your brand as a whole, having the look and feel, having the colors, and then having the logo.
Absolutely. So brand guidelines, right? So this is really important because one thing that I notice agents do sometimes is not necessarily be consistent in their marketing material and in their guidelines. Like if your color is red, great. What's the color code on that red? You can't have burgundy here, bright red here, you know, and a variant, you know, of variances of like reds. You want to make sure that you're being highly consistent. And you need whoever you decide, if you don't have one already, if you have somebody design, let's say your logo and things like that for you, make sure that they provide you with a brand guideline to make sure that you're using the same color everywhere. You're using the same fonts everywhere. This is how people have brand recognition. If you have a for sale sign that looks completely different than your social media, that looks completely different than your business cards, there's no continuity in that, right? So there's no easy way of identifying, oh, that's that same person or it's that same company. Can you imagine if McDonald's, if each franchise had a different shade of yellow or a different font of their N? You know, like you need to have that continuity in order to build on that brand awareness. And that is why it is so important to have a brand guideline.
And here are some examples of those color codes that you can have. Once you pick a color, a graphic designer or professional is able to pick a color code for you. And with that color code, you're going to give it to everybody. You're going to give it to your website person. You're going to give it to your graphic designers. You're going to put it on your shirts. And that's why it's so important to really make sure you lock up those things in the beginning so that you can keep them flowing throughout all of your pieces. So for the
Absolutely.
Miami Association of Realtors, they're constantly trying to make sure that they're on point with their brands. Here, they've made it, I remember when they did this rebranding to create the Miami logo and keep it all the same so that we can all flow together. Even though we're Miami Global, we're Miami YPN, we're Miami JTS, we're Miami Broward. The one thing that stays consistent is the way Miami looks. We have a different color for each of us. We have, a different little title at the bottom for who we are, commercial, YPN, but our
Oh,
main logo and
sorry.
our name has stayed the same. And we have to use that for all of us so that everybody knows that we're affiliated with the Miami Association. So that's a perfect example. And then
Absolutely.
next, corporate identity. I think this is extremely important. So once you've created your mood board, once you figure out your colors, once you've created your logo, right? That's all in the beginning phases. Then we're going to say, how do you apply that to all of everything in your business, all of your social media handles? One, I think it's important, like when you're going through that, you have to make sure that you have I have a list of 8 things that I always say to make sure that's on everything, right? Your name, your title, your logo, images of you, and a consistent image of you. That's why it's always important to have professional headshots. You don't want to have this beautiful brand and this beautiful business card and then have an iPhone photo, right? So make sure you have headshots ready to go. Have your website information ready to go. If you've ever been featured in any kind of ads or articles, have that all in one place. Social media icons, and then your power statement or your logo, or not your logo, your power statement or your like mini bio or even a full bio, right? Once you have all of that together, you can start creating your corporate identity. And whenever someone asks you for something like, hey, send me a logo, you already have that ready to go. And there's different ways to have, like, you can have a small logo, a short one, you can have a longer one for different types of things that are being requested of you. But all of that is going to be incorporated in your corporate identity, right? And you want to make sure that everything is the same on every platform. You want to make sure that your banner on Facebook matches your banner on LinkedIn, that matches your website. You want to be consistent on every page. And that's what a corporate identity is making sure that once you have everything put together, once you have your brand and your logo figured out, how is that going to look on all of your platforms, and then all of your marketing pieces, your marketing material. It's really easy to pump all that stuff out once you've got your brand together.
Absolutely. So this is just another example of what a corporate identity would look like.
Merch material, cups, pens. Once
Yeah.
it's all figured out, when people are asking you for all of these things, it's really easy to create all kinds of fun things that you can use for your brand.
Absolutely. And that's why it's so important to get that brand guideline from whoever helps you with designing the visual representation of your brand, the logos and everything, because that's what you're gonna use to put on everything else, right? And make sure that everything is consistent and concise. So I used this agent. He's out in California. It's actually a good friend of mine. But his brand is not necessarily conventional when it comes to real estate. However, he is very well known and very well and easily recognized because of his consistency. And I think it's also important to know that a brand is not a logo, right? So his brand was built on being fast, right? So like he helps you sell fast, he helps you buy fast, he's scaling his business fast. He is so committed to his brand that he even recently changed his last name to Fast, because in California, some of the advertising rules for agents require that, it has to be the agent's name, and he had Fast everywhere. So he's like, whatever, I'll just change my name. So he literally legally changed his name, right? So I just wanted to use him as an example of what brand recognition can look like, right? Imagine you're getting a newsletter from this guy. Like, you're gonna know Kenny is the one who sent you that newsletter even before seeing his name, right? And he's consistent with it.
Committed, if you ask me, changed his last name.
Listen, he is committed. This is another agent out in Vancouver. who is very minimal in her approach. They keep things very simple, very clean, very traditional, right? So again, very different, very easy to identify each, and they each have their own tone, right? So like Kenny is clearly somebody who is just very like out there, you know, versus, you know, this team, they're a lot more subtle, a lot more appears to be on the little bit more of the luxury side and things like that. And I think it's very important. Kenny himself, like, it's so funny when I talk to him, he says too that although his brand is kind of like this is the visual representation of his brand. However, when he goes to appointments, he always wears blue because blue is seen as a color of trust. Remember, we started off about, you know, talking about colors. So he literally only wears blue shirts to his listing appointments and buyer consultations and things like that. And he feels that it makes an impression because now there's this element of trust, calmness, and you know, and professionalism that's aligned with the color blue. So just to throw that out there. And then our very own Inez in Miami, who has built her own brand around Miamism. She literally is one of the first like major bloggers, like before blogging was even a thing. Like I believe she won an award like years ago for her blog. And she's an amazing leader here in Miami. And her brand has grown beyond just the name Miamism, right? So like she's known for like her dope mojitos and being a leader in the community. So like, again, a brand is how other people perceive you, right? It's not just the logo. So now, branding versus marketing. Do you want to touch on that, Bethany, or you want me to just keep going?
Go ahead, start.
Okay. So a lot of people think that branding and marketing are the same. They are absolutely not the same because marketing is what you say and the brand is what the customer says, right? So I can market all day and say, I'm this, I'm that, this is what I do. But at the end of the day, the brand is what other people would say. A testimonial from your clients aligns more with your brand than what you say it does, as crazy as that sounds, because it's based on their experience, not what you're saying, right? And branding gets people to come back, but marketing is what gets people there in the first place. The commercial, that's marketing. That's what makes you want to try that new burger or whatever that restaurant is selling. How you felt while at the restaurant, how quickly the food came out, how well the food was prepared. Your experience there is what helps you as a customer determine the brand of that restaurant. The commercial was the marketing, right? So all of this is important because it ties into what we do as real estate professionals. And we are in a very saturated market. Miami Realtors has over 52,000 members. So you need to be able to think of, how do we want to stand out? How do you want to stand out individually or as a team or your company, whatever it may be? How do you want to stand out? What kind of experience do you want to give your customers in order to build that brand? Because you can have a beautiful brand guideline, but if you're not giving a good experience to the customer, all you're doing is building a bad brand, if that makes sense, right? Do you want to touch on this, Bethany?
So
The advertising laws?
we definitely have advertising laws for realtors in Florida. So we just can't go posting anything that we want, right? If we post our name and our logo, we have to have our brokerage on there. If we, you know, we have to say what we are, licensed real estate sales associate or broker. So I think it's very important to also make sure that we're following all the guidelines. Like I've also recently learned that, you know, if you're with a brokerage, your logo should not be bigger than the broker's logo, you know? There's little things like that we got to make sure that we're always protecting ourselves and that we're always looking out for our brand. We never want to misrepresent who we are and what we're doing. And that's why it's so important. So we included this link down here from Florida Realtors where you can kind of learn for advertising rules and laws. And we encourage everybody that when you're working on your brand and when you're working on your logo and your business cards and things like that, to make sure you're following the rules and the guidelines. Like all of your business cards need to have like the fair housing logos on them and everything like that. So while we're having fun and, you know, creating our brands the way that we like, we just want to make sure that we're following all the guidelines. And I had someone in the chat ask a few questions on if we could share our logo and our brands. So I wanted to share with you guys how I created my mood board, and then how I this mood board is what I presented to, let's say, my marketing team. And then with that, they were able to create my logo. And of course, it was a lot of back and forth, but I'll just give you a little example, because I played around with my mood board just by Pinterest and Googling photos. So let me see if I could quickly share my screen with you guys, and just, is that okay, Chandra? I'm going to share my screen.
Yeah, no, go ahead. Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, it's about,
So
yeah, there you go.
when I was just playing around one day, figuring out, this was the old logo that I had back when, many years ago. And I actually got that logo off of a site that just threw one together for, I don't know how much money, very cheap, and just put something together for me. I always knew that I liked gold, I liked green, I liked neutral tones. But I had a passion for birds at one point in time. So if you see over here, I had put this bird logo. Something about a bird and a crown and a crescent just really did it for me. But when I started researching a little more, and I realize, like, why do I like birds? I found this definition of a bird, and it says, birds have inspired humans throughout the history with their ability to rise above earth. Birds soaring through the air stir our souls, motivating us to rise above earthly concerns and learn more about the spiritual realm. Birds and angels share a bond because they symbolize the both beauty and spiritual growth. And additionally, angels often appear with wings. When I saw that quote about birds, I said to myself, I'm like, wow, I feel like I can connect to that. So it was very, very important for me that when creating my logo and creating my brand, I wanted to incorporate a bird somehow, right? But I also like crowns, and I also like crescents, and I also like gold. So I'm going to show you my website and what my official logo came out to. And after some playing around, we came up with this logo right here. I don't know. Can you guys see it? So it's the BMAR team with related ISG. So if you see the logo, it kind of resembles birds, it kind of resembles crowns, and it just resembles me. It was like a perfect mixture of everything that I believed in. And I said, you know what, this is my new team logo. So it took some time, but with a mood board, it was definitely helpful to show the marketing department for us to put some ideas together. And that's what we ended up creating. So Chandra, why don't you show us yours? Because I know that someone else wanted to see yours. And I know that you just created the core realtors. So I'm really interested to see how you came about that as well.
Yeah, so I did the reverse. So like I didn't even know what name I was gonna have. I didn't know the colors. I didn't know anything. I kind of, I'll share my screen to show you guys kind of the steps that I took. There we go. So let me move this. So what I did, I kind of went through, okay, what do I want? What am I passionate about? Right. So, you know how, like you said, like, oh, well, you know, I like birds. What is it with my thing with birds? So like with me, I said, what am I passionate about? What are things that are just non-negotiable within the business culture, within the team culture? And then I actually started off by going through and making core values. And then from there, decided on the name, the core. And then, of course, when you think of the core, you think of the earth, right? And then the different layers and the earth, the core of the earth and things like that. And I basically, that's where I got the colors. And then I literally just went and got some images that represent the earth's core, the meaning of the colors. And then I loved how the color orange was associated with like creativity, joy, warmth, and things like that. I'm very spiritual. So I wanted to see like, well, what is it? How does it tie in spiritually? And then I even found like all of the places in the Bible in which the color was relevant. So it just all tied in. And then that's how we got the name, the core. And it's basically just all about sticking to our core values. We are just never allowed to deviate from any of these core values: collaboration, professionalism, integrity, technology, equality and fair housing, and charity. So these are things that we just don't, we never disengage from. And then this ended up being the logo. That's white. But let me see if I can show it to you in color. So this is what it ended up looking like. And then hold on, lies. Yeah. But I have it in different variants. So I have it in all black, all white, or, you know, in full color like that. I also have it with EXP, because I'm with EXP, and our branding requirements and our advertising requirements mean we have to have our EXP logos next to our logos, especially like on for sale signs or business cards and things like that. So I had another version created where it always has the two of the logos together so that I'm always compliant with our advertising laws. So that was kind of the process that I took with going through the rebrand. Yeah, and basically like that's basically it. It just basically just
awesome. That's an awesome process. And it's crazy. You can start backwards. You can start from the beginning. There really is no wrong way to start when it comes to building your brand, but it is important to start thinking about how you want the world to see you. Start thinking about how you want to, you know, what kind of mark you want to leave on people. I think what's really awesome about Chandra and I is we both, our brands both incorporated something from us on a spiritual level, you know, how we want to operate with people. And and when I think of my brand and my core values too, they all align with who I am. So that's really important. That's really what I want people to see when they see me out there working every day, when they see me out there hustling and they see my marketing material, you know? So we encourage all of you, if you haven't started working on that, this is just 101. We could go on and on and on, get into more depth and more details. And you can start now on your own by just creating a mood board. If you don't know who you should work with yet, we can definitely give you recommendations. But for now, if you don't have these components together, start by creating a mood board. What attracts you? What do you feel drawn to? What colors do you like? Putting that together. So that way, when you do meet or interact with a person, a graphic designer, a marketing company, someone who can put these things together, they can already kind of grasp your look and your feel. And then they can use their expertise with fine tuning what you want. But I think it's really awesome too, how Chandra listed her core values. That's really great. I mean, it was your core values that helped you get to your logo and your whole brand, right? So I don't know if anybody has any questions on maybe anything like that, but that's pretty much wraps up our branding 101. And we'll definitely come up with another presentation that'll take us a little bit deeper into that. But if anybody has any questions, please feel free to share. You can find Chandra on the Core Realtors and also Chandra Etienne. And I am Bethany Martinez PA. And make sure you follow us on our Miami YPN page. We too also recently did a rebranding. Our pro membership, which is our Miami YPN Pro, used to be our Miami YPN All Stars. And thanks to Chandra and her husband and everybody else on our board, we came up with our really awesome logo that we have right now, which is Miami YPN Pro. And I think it really sets the tone for who we are. We're professionals. We're the Miami YPN, and we just want to lead and guide everybody to do better business and to just be better agents. So thank you so much for joining us. I don't know if you have any last closing remarks, Chandra.
Well, someone in the chat just asked to see one of the slides again. So I'm just going to quickly share that. It was the branding versus marketing they were asking.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I believe what you're referring to is this here. The branding gets people to come back. The marketing is basically what gets people to get there in the first place, right? So think of marketing as the ads, commercials, and things like that. What you're paying, what you're saying, right? You're trying to convince people to come to you, and the branding is what gets them to come back. The experience that they have with you. So I hope that helps the person
Yeah.
that was asking.
And we hope you enjoyed it. Yes, this was, oh, what he was just saying, I would like to share. He never heard that before. You're welcome, William. We hope you guys enjoyed it. And I just want to say thank you to our amazing sponsors for joining us and supporting our Miami YPN. And please feel free to reach out to them if you need anything at all. They left all of their information in the chat box.
If I'm on my way home, yeah. Wouldn't it be crazy? Don't you still amaze me? Wouldn't it be crazy? Don't you still amaze me? Wouldn't it be crazy? Don't you still amaze me? Wouldn't it be crazy? Don't you still amaze me? If I'm on my way home, yeah. If I'm on my way home, yeah. Wouldn't it be crazy? Don't you still amaze me? Wouldn't it be crazy? Don't you still amaze me? Wouldn't it be crazy? Don't you still amaze me? Wouldn't it be crazy? Don't you still amaze me?